Dear sisters in Christ, as we are going to celebrate the feast of Saint Thomas, the apostle of Christ, who lived for Christ alone, and we understand that Thomas had come to India and he is going to be declared the saint of India. Let us reflect some of the points in his life what had happened. Thomas is famous for having doubted the resurrection of Christ and for demanding physical proof of the wounds of Christ's crucifixion. The phrase doubting Thomas was coined for his lack of faith. When Jesus showed him the wounds, Saint Thomas became the first person to explicitly acknowledge the divinity of Jesus. Saint Thomas was a Jew called to be one of the 12 apostles. He was a dedicated but impetuous follower of Christ. When Jesus said he was returning to Judea to visit his sick friend Lazarus, Thomas immediately exhorted the other apostles to accompany him on the trip, which involved certain danger and possible death because of the mounting hostility of the authorities. At the Last Supper, when Jesus Christ told his apostles that he was going to prepare a place for them to which they also might come because they knew both the place and the way, Thomas pleaded that they did not understand and received the beautiful assurance that Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. But Saint Thomas is best known for his role in verifying the resurrection of his Master. Thomas' unwillingness to believe that the other apostles had seen their risen Lord on the first Easter Sunday merited for him the title of Doubting Thomas. 8 days later, on Christ's second apparition, Thomas was gently rebuked for his suspectism and furnished with the evidence he had demanded, seeing in Christ's hands and point of the nails and putting his fingers in the place that the other apostles had seen their risen Lord on the first Easter Sunday. 8 days later, on Christ's second apparition, Thomas was gently rebuked. Evidence he had demanded, seeing in Christ's hands and put off the nails and putting his finger in the place of the nails and his hand into his side. At this, Saint Thomas became convinced of the truth of the resurrection and exclaimed, "My Lord and my God," thus making a public profession of faith in divinity of Christ. Saint Thomas is also mentioned as being present at another resurrection appearance of Jesus at Lake Tiberias when a miraculous catch of fish occurred. This is also at the Saint Thomas from the New Testament. Tradition says that at the dispersal of the apostles after Pentecost, the saint was sent to evangelize the Parthians, Medians, and Persians. He ultimately reached India, carrying the faith of the Malabar coast, which still boasts a large native population calling themselves Christians of Saint Thomas. Little is recorded of Saint Thomas the Apostle. Thomas was probably born in Galilee to a humble family. but there is no indication that he was a fisherman. He was a Jew, but there is no account of how he became an apostle to Christ. Nevertheless, thanks to the fourth gospel, his personality is clearer to us than some of the other 12. Thomas' name occurs in Matthew chapter 10 verses 3, Mark chapter 3 verses 18, Luke chapter 6, and the Acts of the Apostles chapter 1 verses 13. But in the Gospel of St. John, he plays a particularly distinctive part. Thomas is often condemned for his lack of belief, but Thomas was equally courageous, willing to stand by Jesus in dangerous time. He also relentlessly sought the truth like an inquisitive child. He constantly asked questions, and his wonderful profession, "My Lord and my God," is the clearest declaration of Christ's divinity in his Holy Scriptures. Thomas, loyal follower. When Jesus announced his intention of visiting the recently deceased Lazarus in Judea, a few miles from Jerusalem and dangerously close for someone as unpopular as he, Thomas said to his fellow disciples, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." Gospel of St. John chapter 11 verses 16. When the worried disciples wanted to keep Jesus from going for fear he would be stoned, Thomas, in a moment of bravery not often expressed by the apostle before Pentecost, rallied the other to stay by their master, come what may. Thomas, inquisitive student. Later in St. John chapter 14 verses 1 to 5, it was Thomas who raised an objection prior to the Last Supper. "Do not let your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would not have told you. For I go to prepare a place for you. If I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And you know the way where I am going." Thomas said to him, "Lord, where do we know where you are going? How do we know the way?" With the unease typical of the 12, Thomas misunderstands Jesus' reference to his death and resurrection. Thomas' question provides Jesus an opportunity to teach one of the most profound and difficult truths of his ministry. Jesus said to Thomas, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me." Thomas, doubting apostle. Lastly, and more famously, Saint Thomas is remembered for being absent from the upper room the first time Jesus appeared to the disciples after his resurrection. Thomas dismissed the account of the others by saying, "Unless I see the mark of the nails in the hands and put my finger into the nail marks and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." St. Luke chapter 20 verses 25. 8 days later, Thomas made his act of faith. He fell at the feet of Jesus and said, my Lord and my God. And Jesus, as we reflect his missionary work, Thomas' reluctant missionary is told. Accounts of Saint Thomas' missionary activities are unreliable, but the most widely accepted report holds that he preached in India, although he was reluctant to start the mission. According to the Acta Thomae, the Apostle divided up the world for their missionary labors, and India fell to Thomas. However, Thomas claimed that he was not healthy enough and that a Hebrew could not teach Indians. Even a vision of Christ could not change his mind. Christ then appeared to a merchant and sold Thomas to him as a slave for his master. A king who ruled over part of India. One story suggests that Thomas offered to build a palace for the Indian king that would last forever. The king gave him money, which Thomas gave to the poor, asked to show his progress. St. Thomas explained that the palace he was building was in heaven, not on earth. Ultimately, after giving in to God's will, Thomas was freed from slavery. He planted seeds for the new church, forming many Pharisees and building many churches along the way. To this day, Saint Thomas is venerated as the Apostle of India. In fact, there exists a population of Christians along the Malabar coast on the western coast of India who lay claim to conversion by Saint Thomas. Their tradition holds that he built 7 churches, was martyred during prayer by a spearing on the big hill near Madras, and was buried in Mylapore on the east coast of India. Ultimately, Saint Thomas' remains were transported to Ortona, Italy, where they reside today. Died 53 CE, Madras, India. Western Feast Day, December 21st. Feast Day in Roman and Syrian Catholic Churches, July 3rd. In the Greek Church, October 6th. On the other 12 apostles, his name in Aramaic, Theoma, and Greek, Didymus, means wind. St. John chapter 11 verse 16 identifies him as Thomas called the twin. He is called Judas the twin by the Syrian. To which Thomas soon replied, "Let us also go, that we may die with him."